It's showtime, folks. Welcome in Chase and Big Joe Thursday edition. It's our favorite because we are live today at Kitchen Notes at the Omni Nashville Hotel, as we are every Thursday. He's Big Joe. I'm Chase McCabe. Dr. Crane, Nick Frazier, is along for the ride at the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Jojo, what's up?
You know, good morning, buddy. Is that I have about 400 pins.
Yeah.
Yet I don't have a pin. Does that make sense? I don't have a pin on me.
That's generally how it works. That's why you have 400 pins, because when you can't find one, you just get another one.
And it's driving me. I'm a little ADHD, a little odd, so I like to have a pin in my hand at all times.
Yeah, we know. It's okay.
And I can't. I am. Yeah. All right,
okay.
Good.
Well,
but the oatmeal is good at the Omni Nashville Hotel, which we're live at today.
You've had your bucket already, right?
I've had 3.
Yeah, 3 buckets of oatmeal.
So if during the show I go silent, it's not
because you're eating oatmeal.
Or someplace else.
They have like an IV for you, Joe,
well,
like an oatmeal IV.
Could you? Oh, that'd be disgusting.
He might need like a. Sorry, I was thirsty. Okay.
You were thirsty. Oh man.
He might need a liquid IV just to hydrate him.
Yeah.
Something
you ever
like
done that when you go out and if you go like to the beach like Panama City or Destin or Key West?
Well, let's just be honest. When you drank too much the night before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did it once. It actually was pretty cool.
You had the IV the next day?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. My friends and I did it. And it's like, wow, this is this is game changer.
Oh gosh.
So we are live at the Omni today. We'll catch up with Greg Wyshynski at 9:30 as we usually do. Coach Jeff Fisher going to come hang out with us in the 10 o'clock hour, talk some Cats, talk football, tell stories, all those things. So looking forward to having Coach Fisher with us for the 10 o'clock hour. We're still, and this is one of those inside baseball, behind the curtain things, but our text line is a service we get, and for whatever reason it's not working. So unfortunately, we still don't have the text line, but you can call the old-fashioned way, 615-737-1025. You can also comment on the YouTube chat.
Oh, we got one of those?
We do.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good then.
Yeah, so it kind of works like the text line.
All right. Do we need to crack some skulls about the text line that's
Probably.
not working?
I'm going to send you to wherever they're based out of, and,
God bless the city public works. I'm watching these public works guys in the city and cleaning the streets and everything. I mean, that's just, they bust their tails every day.
I pull up the street, but I just see you in binoculars looking out. Just
See what's
spying
going
on
on in
people.
the city, man. See what's happening out here.
Coach Joe over here. Like, all right, he's lined up.
City's on the move, Chaser. You got to kind of see what's going on. See what's happening.
The city is on the move. So we will hear from the Titans contingent today as they will open up. I guess what is this, mini camp?
This is not rookies. This is everybody?
Levis is speaking, all of that stuff. So I'm going to be dishonest. It's good, I guess, that, all right, they'll say something. Words will come out of their mouth.
Yeah.
Then, we'll spend 3 or 4 days talking about whatever they said.
Well, they'll ask.
Jared will spend the next 3 weeks talking about it, but, that's okay.
Well, Levis will say, hey, you upgraded your weapons around you. You're
Yep.
on the same page with Hopkins and Ridley and Chig and JC. it's just, things you want to hear about how things are going. It's all going to be Pollyanna, which is usually how it's been the entire time. I'm trying
to Pollyanna once.
I'm trying to go back to my time to think when these camps really meant anything or something. And now, I think before the lockout in 2011, it was a lot different, but now it's all structured and nice and sweet. And so there's a lot that you don't get to see that goes on. But, it's good to hear from them and see how things are progressing. I'd like to hear from Simmons about you upgraded the offense.
Yeah.
But you did very, very – you got the corners. But as far as the front seven, you didn't
sweat.
You didn't – and look, man, he ain't going to be ready in August.
No, he's got to lose some weight.
He's got to be in shape, and so you're going to spend the whole time at camp getting him in shape. So I hope he comes in here in shape and ready to go, and he can crack some skulls. But, they improved that front seven 0.
Yeah, but you're right. But I'll ask this because I was listening yesterday when Paul Kaharski was in with Robbie and Rexroad, and they had this discussion. while I agree you gotta build the front seven and you gotta have complementary pieces, you're paying Simmons a lot of money though.
Okay.
At some point, he's got to take over, right? I mean, I know we can ask Coach Fisher about this. I feel like unlocking Hainsworth was you found Vanden Bosch.
Yeah.
And that was the best way. Now they had Autry, but at some point, Simmons, I think, has to go to another level that he hasn't done yet.
When you're getting double teamed on every play, just about, that's why
Sure.
when Aaron Donald was getting single blocked, I'm like, what are y'all doing? Why are you single blocking Aaron Donald? Let Bill Smith, the left tackle, defensive tackle, beat me, not Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald's going to whip my butt one-on-one, and sometimes he busted through when he was double teamed. That's the thing. Simmons, you got to get somebody to take the heat off of Simmons and not let him get double teamed. Look, as we said before, a defensive lineman's job, and Rand even talked about this, is to keep the guys, the guards, the centers, the fullbacks, whatever, off of your linebackers. So your linebackers can run downhill, can make plays. Once you got a guard moving out, blocking your middle linebacker, you can do anything. So Simmons' job, those guys in the interior, when they're running the football, is to get these guys off their line. That's why linebacker is so critical to a football team. And the Titans don't have a middle linebacker right now who can dominate. They don't have one.
No, they don't. And I like the guy they drafted, but you're asking a late round pick to step up and be that guy. Now,
Yeah.
Look, they hit on David Long Jr.
They did.
So, hopefully you're seeing that they can do it again. By the way, people on our YouTube chat, that's how you can text today, or you can tweet us at 1025 The Game, at Chase on Game, at Big Joe on the Go. Clay is asking, is Joe bird watching?
Some may call that bird watching. Others call it something else. I just like the city in motion, man.
You
That's
do. You just like to check
We're
out
at the
city.
Omni. We're looking out here on the Korean Veterans Boulevard and 4th Avenue.
You like the ambiance.
Yeah, the Omni.
The
Yeah.
In Nashville, we call that tourism.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Here comes one guy walking across the street, and he's leading a pack of 8 people, and he's smoking a big cigarette, and the cigarette smoke's going all in their face.
By the way, yesterday, this is why I love Dr. Crane so much. Do you remember yesterday what you asked me when I walked in the producer booth? You asked me if I needed something.
Yes?
Do you remember what you asked?
No, I don't actually.
I walk in, and I'm checking on him. I'm like, hey, everything good? And he goes, hey, do you need a fig tree?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, what?
I thought it was during the show. No, yeah, this was after the shows yesterday. Yeah. I remember now.
What,
So,
was
did you
this
have
the-
an abundance of fig trees?
Did
Is
you
that
get
what-
one out of the Garden of Eden? Where's this fig tree from?
No, I've had fig trees since I was a little kid. My grandparents had 2 fig bushes and a giant fig tree in their backyard. And so anyways, this fig tree that I have has just grown too many roots basically. And so there's
Okay.
too many avenues of just the leaves growing out, which kind of deters the figs of growing. It's just growing just the leaves. So I did some trimming 2 days ago, got rid of all that. And now there's just an abundance of just young sprouts of fig tree, I guess you could say, at the bottom. So, yeah, just anybody wants a fig tree, let me know. I'll dig up that little sprout and put it in a little.
All right, so
Hey,
a question being asked, can you make fig Newtons out of a fig tree?
I'm pretty sure you can. I mean, fig Newtons are processed. That's
It's a great question.
I make fig cookies. I've made fig cookies before, which is really good.
What is that?
It's the fig spread inside. It's like a sappy sort of, fruit. And so when you get the inside of it, you scoop it out and you put it inside of a cookie. And it's kind of like a little jelly in a roundabout way on top of a cookie.
Look, man, I don't like to work for my food. That sounds like a lot of work.
It's a lot of love. You put a lot of love in a cookie like that.
It's like a crawfish boil. You could crack open 700 crawfishes and maybe
I'm
get
not a fan of the crawfish.
maybe get 6 that are like, all right, I see what we're doing here. All right, well, okay. So if anybody needs a fig tree, hook up, get with you, Dr. Crane.
Yeah, I guess. You just reach out to me via Twitter, I guess. And I guess my DM should be open or whatever. I don't know.
Whoa, now.
Not
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. Not like that. Just not going to give out any other personal information to reach out to me.
All right. Well, anything else you selling, or do we need to go to Facebook Marketplace?
Any tables? Any Have you had to clean any ovens lately?
No, but I have had to, mess with some doors lately over
Oh.
at my grandmother's house. The door was not shutting properly, so my uncle and we got some sandpaper, sanded down the inside of the door, and then replaced the door handle. And, of course, it didn't fit flush, so you had to angle it, and hopefully the 2 screw holes would match up, and then you'd be able to screw it in.
Screw holes.
Yeah, I mean,
You just gave us the new name of our show.
Starting Monday, Chase McCabe, Joe Dubin, Nick Frazier are screw holes.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm just trying here. I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on last weekend, so hopefully this weekend's a little different.
You're like,
but
just a trying here. You
Just
know
a
what I'm
trying.
saying? Just a trying here.
that's what she said.
Oh, okay.
And with that, we're live.
Are we
at
still in the
Omni
air?
Nashville
Hello?
Hotel today at Kitchen Notes. as
We do
we're
have a
every
question.
Thursday. We do have a question of the day, which is
All right, so Tennessee Vols baseball's in town. They're the number 1 team in the country playing Vanderbilt, big rival. Do you care? Do you care that I know some Tennessee fans who don't care. And I was like, what?
surprised
It's
by
your
that.
number 1 team. Like, no, it's baseball. Has baseball become like the college basketball tournament? Like, we don't care until the tournament? Is that what's
Yeah.
going on?
interesting question.
And
We'll
also,
discuss.
I'm going to answer. Somebody asked me why Vanderbilt, because so many people want tickets to the game this weekend, why Vanderbilt doesn't move their games to First Horizon Park. And I've got a very simple answer that we can all stop asking about
Ooh.
when we come back.
Okay,
Oh
good
my
question.
God, who the hell cares?
We will do that coming up next. Chase and Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. $102.5, 106.3 the game.
Man.
Here on this Thursday, having a blast at the Omni Nashville Hotel at Kitchen Notes. Todd Rodemel just came by. Check on us, as he always does.
Yeah. So Omni Nashville Hotel, best smelling hotel in town, best breakfast. It's everything. And, this is before they sponsored our show. We love this place well before.
Kitchen Notes is a fantastic place to take mom.
It is.
For Mother's Day.
And speaking of Mother's Day.
Yeah, tell everybody what we're going to do.
So tomorrow we have a ton of notable people calling in, and you can call in as well, our friends. Y'all mean the world to us. And we're just talking about moms. We want to hear what makes your mom special, why you love your mom. Tell the world about your mom, because moms truly, I say grandpas make the world go around, but moms are the backbone of our society. And so we love our moms. So that's tomorrow. I've got 3, 6, 9, 16 special notable guests calling in tomorrow, and I'm waiting on 2 more.
Nice. Little news out of the NHL. We'll talk to Greg Wyshynski in a few minutes. The Toronto Maple Leafs have relieved head coach Sheldon Keefe of his duties, and they will begin a search for a new head coach. Not surprised by that at all. They always blame the head coach first when they probably just need to make a lot more changes with that organization.
I mean, NHL fires coaches and rehires him. It's like Elizabeth Taylor. I mean, she was married like 9 times and married Richard Burton like 6. And so these guys that keep getting just reshuffle the deck.
Well, like Billy Martin got fired by Steinbrenner like 4
Tigers, Yankees. Maybe the A's fired him.
Didn't he get fired at a press conference announcing his rehiring?
No, that was a joke. That was that little hey, I'm going to fire you. Billy Martin.
But they kind of got into it. So.
Yeah. Speaking of baseball, Chaser.
Yep. Hit us with the question.
So the weekend, do you care that the Tennessee Vols, #1 baseball team in the country, are coming to town this weekend to take on the Vanderbilt Commodores? Reaction, I've got friends who have kids on the team. They're excited. But overall, I think college baseball is grown.
Yeah.
It's popular. But it's not popular where it's like, oh, Tennessee Vandy this weekend, when in your backyard, if you're fans of both these schools, it's a huge weekend.
It is. And look, Vanderbilt needs to have a good weekend. They're 33-16 right now, but they're 11-13 in the SEC.
Yep.
So,
and they've fallen out of the top 25, I think.
Yeah, Vandy's gone the wrong direction. Tennessee's the #1 team in the country. Vandy needs to have a good weekend.
Yeah.
And so it's important, for both sides for different reasons. I think that what's interesting. So Vanderbilt fans care because baseball is their best sport.
Yeah,
and everybody knows that.
There's a pocket of them. Yeah.
So I think for the most part they care. Tennessee fans, I find, and I would love for a Tennessee fan to call in and have this discussion, but I feel like 2 or 3 years ago, they would have cared more. But now that football's on the way back, they don't care as much anymore.
It's a good point. I could see that. Tennessee went to the World Series in '95 with Todd Helton's on that team, and people, and then it just fell off. I mean, they had a bunch of coaches come through there. Vitello was hired whenever that was, 17, 18, I don't know the dates, but has re-energized that program. So, but a good point, because the last couple of years they have rallied around that baseball team. I don't see it as much this year because I'll tell you why.
Is it expected?
Yes, that's a good point, because they got to the tournament. They got to College World Series. Remember, 2 years ago, Notre Dame beat them. Last year, they get out to Omaha. And so I think now it's like, all right, I'll get with them when they get to the tournament. When the college baseball tournament starts, we'll get with it. And I think that's the thing, same thing with basketball now. College basketball, for the large part, Chaser, except take out Joe Rexrode, nobody cares about college basketball really in the populace until March.
Yeah.
Your average fan who really loves sports doesn't care until March, until that happens. So here's the other question. So the games are sold out, and there's a high demand for tickets, over there. So I said, well, why don't Vanderbilt, I think that place holds 3,500, move it to First Horizon, which holds nearly 12,000.
Yep.
Here's why you don't if you're Vanderbilt. Do you want 10,000 Tennessee fans
Exactly.
going crazy when it's supposed to be a home game for you?
It doesn't. It shifts to an away game.
Thank you. It's not about the revenue. Don't give me this about making more money. Vanderbilt doesn't need any more money. We all know this. As our good friend Greg Pogue says, Vanderbilt has selective poverty, which is a great way to put this. But you keep your home field. You keep it at Hawkins. You built that up. So who cares how it's $3,500? Keep it there.
100% agree with you. That's why when there was all this talk about the soccer stadium and John Ingram building the soccer stadium, that it would also be the home for Vanderbilt football.
Yeah.
And I was vehemently against that because you struggle enough now to get your fans and your students to come to your games on campus.
Right.
How do you think it's going to look off campus?
Yeah.
And baseball,
Right.
baseball's different. And I just think my whole thing with college sports, be on campus. There's just that magic about it.
You are correct, sir. There's
And
only
so-
one school in the SEC football that's not on campus. You know who it is?
One school.
In the SEC that's not on campus. I'll let you think about that in your head for a second. In 2000, Vanderbilt played Tennessee at Nissan Stadium because something was going on over at Dudley Field. What was happening over there? I'm like, this would be great for Vanderbilt. Tennessee fans, that stadium holds 69,000 in Nissan Stadium. I'm telling you, 67,000 were UT fans. Now, is that a difference? That's 25,000 more than you get over at Dudley Field. I get all that. Keep it on your home place. Don't you cheat on this either.
I'm not. I'm just looking at the
Don't you
the
ever.
teams.
So keep the games on your campus. I'm proud of Corbin because a lot of people move those games. You'll be overrun with Tennessee fans there. Tennessee fans would love it. But if you're Vanderbilt, keep it where it is right now. You got them in your own confines and everything else. You don't need to move these games. Not even if they hosted – I remember they hosted an NCAA first-round baseball. Move it to First Horizon. No.
Yeah.
You earn the right to host it at home.
Is it Kentucky?
Incorrect. Their stadium's on campus.
I don't know then.
Go down the list, pal.
Auburn,
Auburn's Jordan Hare is on campus.
Florida,
Ben Hill Griffin Stadium is on campus.
Georgia's on campus. LSU.
Death Valley is on campus.
I don't know.
Keep going. Go down the list. Our question is, what SEC football stadium is not on campus?
May I answer, Joe?
Yeah.
Missouri?
No.
Oh.
Missouri is right in smack dab middle. Has anybody answered on the text line? See if anybody's got, or
We don't have
whatever, the YouTube.
No.
YouTube. Anybody want to
Twitter.
call in and ask?
At Chase on Game, at Big Joe on the Go, at 105 the Game. I really don't know.
They play their games at the site of the state's county fair. The stadium is right in the middle of where they hold the state's county fair.
A&M?
No, sir. Kyle Field's on campus. Come on, Chase. You got this.
I don't know.
You want to call Lifelines? You want to call in and tell Chase?
Arkansas?
737-1025. No, sir.
Alabama's on campus.
Somebody call in and help my man out. It's a good trivia question.
It is a great trivia question. You have me stumped.
Wait a minute.
I have no idea.
And the nickname of the stadium is
If somebody, I tell you what, if somebody calls in and helps me out and gets it right, I'll give you a pair of tickets to see Fluffy tonight. Gabriel Iglesias.
Oh, I'm going to call in.
615-737-1025.
I'm
I
gonna
have
call-
no idea.
I'm going to call in. And the nickname of the stadium is, if it ain't swaying, we ain't playing. Because sometimes it gets so loud and rocking in there that the stadium sways a little bit. Come on, I know somebody
All
knows
right,
this.
Gabe, do you know?
It's South Carolina.
Bingo.
South Carolina. Okay.
Gabe, enjoy the concert
Yeah,
tonight.
hook Gabe up with Gabriel Iglesias tickets. We got it. We got him. Okay.
Yep.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I thought that was on campus.
Why?
Because, I mean, it's like Columbia is not that big.
No, it's close to campus, but it's right in
Yeah.
the middle of the state fair is.
Okay.
Now people are weighing in.
Yeah, now
on
everybody's
personal texting. So that's what. No,
Poor
that's nice.
Chase.
Yeah.
Ricky says poor Chase. Well, okay. I don't know every little piece of trivia.
I bet you 98% of the people didn't know that.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. But
Poor
I agree.
you, Ricky.
I agree with you. All games should
Sure.
be on campus, on your own campus. Bring people on your own campus.
I agree. I mean, South Carolina's a little different, I guess, if it's on, the fair, the state fair, and it's close to campus and stuff. But, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Should be on campus. I mean,
It doesn't make a difference for
like
that fan
Tennessee,
base.
Tennessee's is on campus. Like it's, I mean, yeah, you walk through campus to get to it.
Well, it's also, too, because if you look at the history of these stadiums, like Neyland Stadium has dorm rooms.
Yeah.
in the stadium. I don't know if they're active anymore, but the places are still there. They have classes there.
Yeah.
I think the Body Farm class is underneath the stadium that they have up there, I was told. So some of these stadiums are just so iconic and good, and having them on campus is fantastic. I mean, just, that's why, what was it, USF played at Raymond James, and it's just not the same. So they're building their own stadium on campus. Now, I will tell you, we've talked about this. Tulane did it correctly. Tulane's got about a 25,000-seat stadium on campus, and it's perfect.
Yep.
I wish Vanderbilt would have done that. The SEC would have never allowed that. But that stadium at Tulane, SMU the same way, those stadiums are perfect. And like Old Dominion, James
I think
Madison.
middle is about, with all the stuff they're doing at MTSU, it's going to be the same way.
It is. You're right.
And so I had classes at Murphy Center because there's classrooms in Murphy Center. I did know some people that went to UT that had classes at Neyland.
Yep.
So they still at that point.
I know in the 80s you had dorm. People were still living in the dorms there, which was fantastic.
Was it the football team?
No, just regular peons.
That's
Football
funny.
team stayed at Gibbs Hall for years and had their own little place over there until the NCAA came in and said, you can't be isolated and all this other good stuff that went on, which was just asinine.
Yeah. Coming up next, we'll talk some hockey with our man Greg Wyshynski, get his thoughts on the Predators season coming to an end, plus what's happening in Toronto. Do that next. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
for being a friend. Travel down the road.
Back here on this Thursday, Omni Nashville Hotel, chasing Big Joe. 102.5, 106.3 The Game. He is a friend, that is for sure. Greg Wyshynski joins us now from ESPN, presented by ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Greg, good morning. I know it's a busy morning. How are you?
When is it not a busy morning in the playoffs? It's always late nights, too. I was just telling my wife last night, like, as a guy who lives in Brooklyn, I'm ready for the playoffs to advance to the point where I don't have to stay up until 2 a.m. every night watching these West Coast games, which I know is very East Coast elitist of me. But still, it's when you're getting up early and going to bed late, you're over it at some point.
No, I totally understand, and that's kind of what it was with going back to Vancouver and back to Nashville and those things. But unfortunately, it came to an end for the Preds. We'll get to them in a second. Surprise, not surprise, Toronto has relieved Sheldon Keefe of his coaching duties.
Not surprised at all. I mean, once it became apparent they were going to have a press conference on Friday with the GM and the president, Brendan Shanahan, and the team president and stuff, like, it's pretty obvious they were going to make a change probably before that. It is interesting, though, that if you ask around about what the Leafs did in that series against Boston, he probably did more coaching in that series than he's done in like the last 5 years. Matthews goes out with the injury. They kind of change tactics. They play a little bit more defensive. The games are tight. For me, it's like, their power play went 4.8% conversion rate against Boston in a playoffs where obviously every special team, every series was basically decided on special teams. That's not on him. That's player execution and his assistant coach not doing well. But listen, someone has to pay when you only win one playoff series in the tenure of the coach. And I think the writing was on the wall for him the minute that Brad Treliving took over as GM, because he was Kyle Dubas's boy from back in junior. So it was bound to happen. And pretty much the only way he's going to keep his job is if the Leafs probably win not just one but two playoff rounds.
So looking at that job now, I mean, the pressure that comes with it. Personally, I think one of the best people for that job is currently the general manager here in Nashville. So he's not available. But who would be a good fit in your mind, knowing everything that's involved with that job?
Well, there's two names right now, and maybe one of them can't be available, but we'll get to that. The first is Craig Berube. Obviously, he has a Stanley Cup ring with the St. Louis Blues. But more importantly is his real talent as a coach isn't necessarily like X's and O's. It's the ability to keep his team laser focused and keep the outside noise from impacting them. It's the thing he did best in St. Louis. He's a guy that likes to play heavy hockey, which I think the Leafs could do with the lineup that they have, and certainly should do in the division that they're in. But it's that sort of like ability to kind of keep everybody on the eyes on the prize that I think could really do well for him in Toronto. The second guy is Quenneville, and that brings us to the uncomfortable question of whether Joel Quenneville should coach the NHL again. I'm of the mind that he shouldn't after everything that went down in Chicago. But, he's done some media interviews this year that maybe indicated that he is on his way back. The NHL and Gary Bettman have to basically, he's not suspended, but they have to sign off on him returning. But I was talking to an NHL source last night who told me, look, if someone comes asking for Quenneville, I would not be shocked in the least if he's coaching somewhere next season. So that's kind of the thing that's out there as far as like if the Leafs wanted to go down that road, it could potentially be a thing that happens. But that might be worth more trouble than it needs to be. And again, like I think for me and a lot of people, we don't necessarily want to see this guy back in the league.
ESPN senior NHL writer Greg Wyshynski is on with us.
All right, Greg, we're not even to the offseason. I'm already tired of this UC Saros talk and what's going to happen here in Nashville. Your thoughts on this? And if I always like to ask, if you played GM for a while, what would you do with this situation here in Nashville?
Well, I'd trade him. I mean, like, listen, if there's always the mindset of, you can go down the road with him next year and maybe sign him to a shorter term deal and give Askarov a little bit more time. And then also, be really competitive because UC Saros is your goaltender. But I think for what he's going to probably be looking for contractually, doesn't fit with what he would probably want to do. In theory, again, like these guys always want to be where their stuff is. His stuff's in Nashville. You can never say for sure. But if he's looking for something longer term, that's crazy with what you have in the system right now. So, I'd trade him. I'd maximize the return, make the team better. There are teams that are in obvious need of goaltending help that have a lot that could help the Predators, being, Los Angeles and New Jersey come to mind immediately. And you have an asset that could certainly bring that back. Now, it could be a crowded market. Like, there's all this talk about Jacob Markstrom being available. There's always this notion, is Jordan Binnington potentially available in St. Louis? He's coming off a great year. Let's see how it shakes out. But, there's no question that UC Saros, whether it's the Kings or the Devils or the Leafs or anybody, could solve a lot of problems for somebody and certainly bring back a really healthy return to Nashville.
All right, Greg. So, again, on this show, Chase asks the really good questions. I ask the really dumb ones. So I see the survey about asking fans to name Utah's new hockey team. And Greg, I got to tell you, I'm disappointed. There's 20 names here. If they don't name this Utah hockey team the Utah Latter-day Skates, I will be furious. I'm telling you now. You got a lot of pull in the league, Greg. Make this happen. The Utah Latter-day Skates.
I like that one. I've also enjoyed SLC Puck was one that was pretty popular to begin with instead of Punk. It's 20. For those who haven't seen, it's 20 names. A lot of them are the ones we've already known because they've been quietly using shell corporations to trademark these names over the last few weeks. And by the way, it does sound like they're going to have a name next year. They won't have a logo. It won't be on their jersey. They won't have a mascot. But, Ryan Smith, the new owner of the team, told me recently that he wanted to have the opportunity for these players to refer to themselves as something, right? But for year one, it'll probably be like Utah on a jersey and then, have some team colors. We've gone over the names a lot on our podcast that drop. I like Mammoth. I think it's a cool name. I think the Outlaws is a cool name. The interesting thing about their survey, so the plural of Yeti is Yetis. That is, it's not, fish. There's an S at the end, right? But in the survey, it says Utah Yeti. So it sounds like maybe they don't want the S, even though that's proper grammar, and they might just go Utah Yeti, which is probably a better name if we're being honest, but again, not grammatically correct, and I'm a stickler for such things.
Well, not only that, but there's only like 4 or 5 professional teams that don't have an S under their name, and the Jazz is one of them, and so he owns the Jazz too. Might as well make it the Yeti. Might as well double the fun there.
Yeah, and listen, hey, kudos to them for actually looking to change the name instead of keeping it as something that doesn't even apply to the state they're playing anymore, like the Jazz. You could have,
that's correct.
Called them like, the Utah Phoenix or something like that, and really appropriate.
Well, rise again.
But no, it's exciting, dude. It's exciting. I love all the. And by the way, no dumb question on this because the fans have been buzzing about what this team will be called for weeks. And now we've got a survey, and we'll see how it shakes out. There's a couple of them on there that are really bad, but there's a few of them that are really interesting. Blizzard would be fun too. Like I don't know if that's going to win, but that's cool because you could have the youngins call them the Zard or the Blizzies.
Right. They got Mountaineers, Freeze, Mammoth, Black Diamonds, Blast, Caribou, Blizzard, yada yada yada. But I'm going with Latter-day Skates. Make it happen, Greg.
But one of the names they have on the list is the Powder. And I'm just like, boy, you guys are asking for it.
The Utah Powder. Oh, gosh.
We're talking to Greg Wyshynski here on the Chase and Big Joe show. And, Greg, looking at the Predators, going back to that now, people try and find reasoning, and this is why they lost and all this stuff. And, I've heard some people say that, well, they just don't match up well. They're just far off from – being ready to contend. And I think they had plenty of opportunities to win that series. But when you look at this team as a whole, as pretty much the only major media member that picked them to make the playoffs, what do they need to add this offseason to be more of a true contender?
It's a great question. I haven't really broken down their roster, to be honest with you, to see exactly where the areas of need are. I think they're doing the right thing now, which is allowing a lot of younger players to get opportunities and to grow and to understand what it takes to win in this league. And to me, to go back to the playoff thing, like that was the biggest. The reason they lost was the game that they squandered at home, the one where Besser had the hat trick and Lindholm scores in overtime. If they win that game, I think they win the series. But that game was essentially what we're talking about here with the roster, which is that, 3-1 lead, third period, they're fat and happy, they're cruising, all of a sudden adversity hits, and then it hits again, and then it hits in overtime. And there was not a soul in the world that thought they were going to win that game in overtime, right? So, that's the kind of thing they needed to go through to become a better team. And that's why I was really happy they made the playoffs. I didn't think they were going to win the cup. But as far as, maturation of a team, it's essential to play important games. It's essential to experience those moments where adversity hits. And I think, more so than anything they do to the roster, the education they receive in these playoffs is going to help them immeasurably next season.
Well, going to be interesting for sure. And I am with you on the playoffs, especially for you and what you do, that it's time to get back on the East Coast and not have all this jumping around at 2 a.m. for you. But
well, I'm excited. I'm going to Boston for the games 3 and 4 in that series. You got people making $10 million beating each other up, so I'm really excited to go cover that series now.
Yeah, that'll be a good one for sure. Greg, appreciate it as always. We'll talk next week.
Anytime, thanks.
Greg Wyshynski, ESPN, joining us as he does every Thursday at 9:30. We're live today at Kitchen Notes at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Coach Jeff Fisher coming up at 10 o'clock as I see him walking in right now. So looking forward to having Coach on with us on the Chase and Big Joe Show, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
All right, my friends, Big Joe here. Listen, you've put this off for way too long. It's time to get done and move forward with your sex life. The Tennessee Men's Clinic is a leader in bedroom confidence. Now, the reality is pills often quit working, and guys start making excuses for not coming to bed. And did you know that studies show that men will be more irritable and argumentative before bed just to avoid failing at intimacy? And yeah, I know, we hate going to the doctor, but the Tennessee Men's Clinic was created in 2014 to take care of guys just like us. For a decade, the urologists and providers at the Tennessee Men's Clinic have helped guys with ED and weight loss, and now they even offer aesthetic enhancements and cosmetic procedures. Their ED and weight loss treatments truly changed lives. With no surgery, they're seeing success rates as high as 90%. They specialize in seeing guys who think they're out of luck, help them regain hope that they can be successful in the bedroom and beyond. And listen to this. They even offer same or next day appointments. So guys, it's time to feel amazing and hit your goals this year. So stop thinking about it and get in there. Write this number down, please. 615-208-9090. 615-208-9090. Or go online to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com to book an appointment today. It works. Go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com.